What is going on, guys? This is Keith Mulvaney. Thank you for checking into another one of my YouTube videos. Real quick, I always like to start off by saying go to my Instagram, shoot me some questions, some comments, whatever it may be, whatever topic you want me to talk about is business related. So today's video is going to be on, related to my last video, how to make the easiest $2,000 per month of your entire life. So I had quite a few people reach out to me after I made that video, and they want to know exactly, my criteria and, apps and websites that I use to find cars to flip. So that is what today's video is going to be on. I'm going to address the main question that was answered, and I'm going to talk to you guys about, more in depth of what I do from, not necessarily from start to finish on flipping cars, but exactly what I do to find the cars. That's what I'll do. I'll tell you guys exactly what I do to find them. So the very first thing that I do is I get on Craigslist. Of course, everybody uses Craigslist. Everybody knows what Craigslist is. Craigslist is by far the #1 website that I use, simply because of the amount of inventory on it, the amount of cars that are on there. Every single person posts their car for sale on Craigslist. And then #2 is an app that I use on my phone called OfferUp. OfferUp is great as well. A lot of motorcycles that you can flip on there. I would have to say more motorcycles than cars, at least in my area. But OfferUp is a great one. I find a lot of good deals. Probably about 25% of the cars that I flip come from OfferUp. So those are the two main sources that I get my cars from, that I use to flip. Again, that is Craigslist and OfferUp. And OfferUp is an app on your phone that you can download. The next thing that I do is I put in all of the requirements of, or all the criteria or specifications of the cars that are selling hot in your area. Like I said in my last video, to find the car that is selling hot in your area. And how to do that is find cars on Craigslist that are between, I like to say between $1,000 and $4,000. I never go above $4,000. I'll go below $1,000. But I typically, that's kind of my baseline, is $1,000 and max is $4,000. Definitely strong on the $4,000 max. $1,000 min is I'll go below it every once in a while. But how I find the car that is selling the hottest in my area, like I was saying though, is I put in a max and min of $1,000 and $4,000, and then I find out which cars there's the most of on there, and I kind of track those cars. I see, for example, a Nissan Maxima, or a Toyota Corolla is another good one as well. I'll follow Toyota Corollas, and I'll say, okay, I got on here on Tuesday, this 2003 Toyota Corolla was on here, and then 2 days later it was gone, it was sold. And then I'll get on there and I'll do it with a Nissan Maxima, and the Maxima might be on there on Tuesday, and then a week later it's still on there. I know not to go for the Nissan Maximas. Again, I do that with more than just one car, but I'll take like 5 Toyota Corollas and 5 Nissan Maximas, or 5 Ford Rangers, and that's kind of how I figure out which cars are selling hot in my area at that time. So once I figure out which car is selling hot, I put in, on Craigslist or OfferUp, I'll do like a, Ford Rangers, max and min price, $1,000 to $4,000, max amount of miles. I never really like to go over, like for example, like the Ford Rangers, I never really go over about 170,000 miles. Really anything over that is just, they don't really sell too well. But really anything below that, they sell freaking ridiculously fast. And then for when it comes to Toyota Corollas, like cars, or sedans, I typically stay below 150,000. The Ford Rangers, sometimes I might go, around 200K. But again, that's kind of getting to the point to where, the amount of people looking for a car with over 200,000 miles are willing to buy a car with over 200,000 miles is pretty slim. Everybody likes it to be in that, at least in the 100,000s. Probably honestly lower the better, obviously, but they would like to at least see it in the 100,000s. And for an SUV or a Toyota Corolla, or just a 4-door sedan or 2-door coupe, whatever it may be, I like to stay below 150,000 miles. They seem to be the most desirable. Then also, once you kind of get that figured out, you got the car that the make and model car that you're looking to go for. You know, you find a few cars that fit the requirements for the miles. You find one, you know. I typically, also another thing too, when it comes to the title, I never get salvage title cars. I've maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. You know, maybe people still buy those, but I'm too nervous that I'm going to lose $4,000 simply because nobody wants to buy a car with a salvage title. So I always go for a car with a clean title. I just feel like it's one less thing you have to worry about when it comes to selling your car. So once you find a car that meets all of those requirements, or a few cars, you know, probably 4 or 5 cars that meet those requirements, or even more, there'll be a lot of them out there. Then you start getting into the more minor details. Like, I don't buy cars with ones that look like that they have, you know, have a huge dent in the side of them, or look like they've been poorly treated. I look for, out of maybe the 10 cars that I come across, I find the one that is in the best condition. And so when I look for condition, like I was saying, I look for ones with the least amount of dings and dents. Cars that are going to be below $4,000 are going to have dings and dents. It's just there's really no way around it. You might come across one that doesn't, but guaranteed that they will. But I look for ones with the minimum amount of dings and dents. I look for the upholstery, whether the seats are all torn up. I look for whether there's cracks in the dashes, a lot of big thing too that I come across is a lot of times the radios don't work. I look to see if the radio works. You know, obviously the wear and tear on the tires. If it's a manual, check and see. You give them a call and see when the last time the clutch was replaced. Just little things like that. And then out of the 10 cars that you find and do your research on, buy the one that is in the best condition. Obviously, I know that's pretty obvious, but do a little bit of research. Don't be afraid to call the people. Find out what when the last time they did the maintenance on them was. Do little things like that. Another thing as well that I want to mention that a lot of people, honestly, I've never seen anybody on YouTube mention. So here is my number one tip for you guys. So an easy way to tell if a car has been mistreated or if it has been, overheated. If a car is overheated, it can literally ruin the whole motor. So whenever you go to look for a car, listen, open up the hood, bring somebody else with you. Of course, it's always smart to bring somebody else with you, but the person that you bring with you, get them inside the car, tell them to rev it up a little bit, and while you sit outside and listen to the motor, listen for knocks. So if the motor's knocking, immediately right then and there, walk away. If a motor has a knock, it means there's something a lot more serious going on in there, and you do not want that car. Say maybe you lift up the hood, you're listening, there's no knocks. Another thing to do is to pull out the oil stick and smell it. If it smells like something's burnt, there'll be a little bit of a burning smell because it's oil and a hot motor, but if it literally smells like it's burnt, then that's another sign that it's a no-go as well. So that's two of the big things to look for whenever you are actually, in person looking at the car. Listen for knocks and smell the oil stick and make sure it doesn't smell like it's burnt. If it smells like oil, perfect. But if it smells like burnt oil, no go. Do not buy it. There's too many cars out there that do not have those problems or have been treated better than to risk buying a car that has been, poorly maintained or poorly driven, etc., etc. So that is kind of my biggest, things that I look for and the things that I do and how I find the cars and what websites and apps I use to find the cars. So listen, if you guys have any more questions that you'd like to have answered, go over to my Instagram at Keith Mulvaney and shoot me some comments and some DMs. That's how I knew to make this video, simply because you guys went onto my Instagram and I got a lot of questions regarding this topic. So again, my name is Keith Mulvaney and thank you for checking out my YouTube channel.